Welcome back to Sports on Tap. I'm your host, James Laney, with my co-host, Kyle Johnson.
What's going on?
And my other co-host, Ryan Fahey.
Gentlemen, let's get it.
So before we get started today, don't forget that we are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. My co-hosts are mocking me, but please go follow, subscribe, like, and share.
And guys, also, hit that bell. Get notified when we post.
Speaking of weak and soft, sports overall, a lot of plays have been going off, and it's just, throughout the years, everybody's been complaining about refs and calls and how the leagues are. Are sports getting too soft?
Hold on, that was a fucking beautiful
That was
transition.
James, that was immaculate.
Thank
But
you.
that transition was just
Thank you, boys.
Top
mwah.
tier.
But yes.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Oh my God. I just want to go back to literally the Clemson Ohio State game. This is their targeting calls. Now, targeting, real problem, like real issue, 100%. But what I can't stand is when everyone's like, "Oh, well, he lowered his head." I'm like, if you lower your torso to make a hit, your head is leading every single time. If it makes contact, you got to see what the offensive player is doing. Fields spun into this kid's helmet.
Yeah.
Spun into it.
Yes.
And they called it a target. He was going for the hit. Like, there's a normal freaking hit. He spun into the crown of his helmet, and they called him for targeting and ejected him. The ejecting part of it is where I have a real problem with it. Unless it's egregious.
Didn't they did that in another bowl game too?
Oh, it was
To the same kid.
Was it really?
To the same kid in the same building.
Bro, I'd be fighting. We'd be throwing hands.
He took it. Shout out! I forget his name. Shout out to that kid. He took it very
Yeah,
well.
'cause
He ejected the second bowl game in a row in the same building. He took it. I was like, he probably saw it coming.
I think it speaks volume to that player.
100%. Oh, the kid's a beast. I hate that I'm blanking on his name. He's a tank, but he huge impact player.
He's the middle linebacker, right? White
Yes.
dude?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that's what I
exactly
mean.
what I'm thinking of.
He got ejected for playing football. That's
Twice.
exactly what that is. Twice.
That's fun.
That's literally what that is. It's so soft.
I understand how why some of these rules are in place. Like I understand people who there's
You gotta have rules like that.
You
It's
have
it's
to yeah.
protection, but
I
it's
understand,
soft.
but they should be in place, but they should be kind of lenient. Like
It's-
those rules should be in place for players like Vontaze Burfict. It's like, hey,
yes,
stop fucking
Thank you.
giving people concussions. Like stop targeting. Stop doing all this crazy. I understand. Yeah, they should be fined. They should be penalized. They should be whatever. Get it out of football. But all these people just the roughing the passer calls. Some of these ones that get called for literally no reason make me want to just strangle a ref. They did one of the most egregious ones I saw this year. It was week 5. I think it was Philly versus the Steelers. It was, I forget his first name, something Williams. Came in, normal tackle. Carson Wentz is throwing the ball as he gets whatever. Doesn't lower his head, doesn't land on top of him. Literally just wraps him up, brings him to the ground, stops himself when he gets to the ground so he doesn't crush him, and then walks off and celebrates. Throws the flag. I'm like, dude, come on. That's just a normal sack. He beat his offensive, he beat his man. He didn't try to hurt anybody. He did his job as a defense.
Oh, you said when he fell? Did he go below?
When he felt literally.
Did he go below the knee?
No.
Oh,
It was
'cause
center.
That's
it was
another call.
It was center of the torso. Wrapped him up, and as soon as he landed, put his arms out, so he didn't just brutal. He just didn't destroy Carson Wentz.
Now I kind of blame Brady for those rules with the quarterback because
Brady's been a little bitch with that.
for
it's
2
08.
decades.
For
2
yeah,
decades.
for two de-
I love him, but this is a Tom Brady rule.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But
Because of 08.
100%.
Yeah.
But those tackles where it's where the guy literally trips, with a D tackle or something, trips over an offensive lineman, and then tackles the quarterback below the knee, and then they call that roughing the passer. It's he didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
Why are you penalizing a guy who didn't mean to tackle him that way?
There-
What? You want him to tackle and then just not move?
Yeah.
Oh, you slipped. You're on the ground now. Stop moving.
There's
Yeah.
a there's a
Is
difference.
that what you want?
There's a difference between intentionally trying to harm
Yes.
another player
Intention should be
and
huge.
yes, that's what I think the rule change needs to be, is intentionally trying to hurt a player, and like you said, accidental. It should be a little more. Even though I usually don't like this, up more to the discretion of the ref. Like in the NBA, which I actually want to talk about in a second because I have a lot of beef with the NBA and being soft.
Oh,
The NFL too. The NFL, it really is mostly towards the quarterback, where it's like
It's all towards the quarterback.
Yeah, 100%.
well, it's because I get it, because that is what gets you the money. If
It's
you
the
don't have a good
revenue,
quarterback,
it's
you
the
don't like.
moneymaker.
If you don't have good quarterbacks, you don't have a good league. It's just that's how it is.
Yep.
But to switch over to the NBA real quick, my problem is the flagrant fouls.
Yes.
Not even so much how soft regular fouls are now. It's like, you know what, that's a conversation a whole nother day because that's become a part of the game. But in the bubble, what I noticed a lot was the flagrant fouls. Like it would be a foul and they go back and look at it, and the guy's elbow would slightly brush up against the guy's face. And it's not like he was elbowing him, but clearly was not trying to rock this dude out, like what happened to Kawhi. Like not trying to happen
Right.
like that. And the amount of times like, oh, that's a flagrant, where it's like they're playing basketball, the dude's driving to the lane and he's not throwing elbows, he's just like the defender is right there, because a flagrant foul was intentionally trying to harm another player.
The problem with this is when it's happening, when we're seeing this replay happen, they're watching it in slow motion. So their slow motion is like, say the play took about 3 seconds to happen. We're watching this break down in about 15 seconds. So to us, it looks like the play is taking way longer. So it looks like he has more time to react, or less time, whatever you want to call it. And so it's just like we see it and then we're like, oh, clearly he had time to move. Like, no, play this in full speed. You don't even realize it. Like the hit, like literally, I'm just going back to that the bowl game with Clemson and Ohio State. Play that hit in full speed. You just thought Fields got rocked, which he did. Unless you went into slow motion, then you saw the crown of the helmet hit him. You have to make a judge. These have to be judgment calls in the NBA. They have to be judgment calls. You can tell when a guy truly elbows somebody because he makes a point to get the contact on the guy with the elbow. It's not going up. Like these guys in the heat of the moment. Like we've played sports in the heat of the moment. We almost become like primal instinct, where it's just looking at the ball. Everything else is not happening.
Well, that's what
Nothing
you're told.
else. Exactly. Nothing else. You're not aware of anything else. You're just focusing on the game, and whatever happens, you don't. Usually, you don't mean it to.
I get some of them right. All I'm saying, with at least most refs in general, especially the NBA, just let them play. You know what I mean? Like I get accidents happen. Some stuff has to be flagged. There's always going to be mistakes. But I'm saying like cut back like 20%. Take your foot off the gas like 20%. Let some more stuff go, and go back. And the biggest thing I can't stand with refs, and I will say some of them are getting better now with replay being so constant and everything, is the failing to admit like when you clearly made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was one, I think it was the 2013 World Series I was watching, and it was that double play. I don't know. The Red Sox go to turn a double play and like catches the ball, goes to throw it, clearly loses it on the transition, so there should be one out. Umpire calls them both safe, and all of them get together, and they had them like mic'd up.
Yes.
And you heard that one of the guys go, "Hey, listen, we're not here to be right or we're not here to be petty. We're not here to be whatever. We're here to get the calls right." He's like, "That was blatantly wrong. Like that was an out. We're calling him out." And they just fixed it right there on the spot. And I was like, hallelujah. Like, where the fuck has that been
not
in
even,
all of
like,
sports?
No replay needed.
No replay. It was just like, hey, you fucked up. Like, that's what should have happened should be allowed to happen with, like, the Saints with when they got screwed from that
exactly.
clear pass interference.
Yes.
It's tough, though, because sometimes it's like, we think that's like, oh, that's the right move, where it's like, leave it up to the refs. But then that's when, and I'm not saying every ref would do it, it can get to their head and like games can get fixed, where it's like, if the refs have that much power, or if they're just having a bad day, say like, I don't know, the wife's yelling at them that day and they come in there in a bad mood, and then they just kind of screw people over. If you give the refs too much power,
yeah, good.
Like if you give the refs too much powers, then it can ruin the game. And there's no 100% right answer or wrong answer.
I'm just saying, take your foot off the gas.
No, I agree. I think it's, but how, like, calling the plays less is different than, oh, there's no flag thrown, let's throw the flag 5 minutes after the play kind of thing. Yeah. Even though clearly, like in that example with the Saints and Rams, it was pass interference. He literally, that was a worse hit. That was a worse hit than the kid on Clemson had.
Yes.
Like, this is what
worse.
I'm talking about, but you can't just let a ref throw a flag 20 minutes after a play kind of thing. Clearly exaggerating.
No, but that's one of those things where it should be like, if it's egregious, the refs should be able to get together and be like, Are we going to overturn this? Like,
Yes.
against
See,
one.
Yes, an egregious call is what it should be.
Egregious. Yeah.
See, leagues are getting soft because of the way they are officiated.
Everybody has to be like.
That's really what it is. When we first thought of this topic to talk about, I was thinking more of like player standpoint. Until we started talking, then I truly realized that these refs, it's
the higher ups.
Because then once the refs start making these calls, then the players start looking for those calls to be made.
Yeah.
The refs have they shouldn't have so much power, but they do. Like they take a hold of games sometimes, and it's just like you need to control your own self for the better part of like just for the betterment of the game. Like because then just like also like the fact that we can call a foul on like one of the players taking a three, landing, and then like their fingers touching the guy, and then falling down, and then calling that a shooting foul is downright ridiculous. It had nothing to do with the shot. That's terrible. That's a terrible call. It doesn't affect the ball's halfway through the air, and then he gets touched. It doesn't affect the travel path at all.
But I agree.
That's terrible.
I agree 100%. Where it's like the players aren't the ones making it soft. And I'm not even saying the refs. I think it's the higher ups making the rules, telling the refs this is how you need to call it now, and then the players. Well, as a competitor,
If you're going to call it,
that's the thing. If you're a competitor,
Exactly.
you're going to
If I
get
can
any
get- yeah.
advantage to win a game, to win a championship. Like you will do anything you can to win it. Like just win. That's
unless you're Doug Peterson.
that.
Oof. Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
Roasted. Hey everyone, James Laney here, founder of Sports on Tap. If you enjoy our content and want to help us grow, there's an easy way you can do that. All you're going to want to do is go on any of our social media accounts, hit this link to our website, then click the Listen Here button, then go over to the Support button. Then you're going to have a few options for how much you'd like to donate a month. Then you're going to fill out your information down below, hit the Support button. Any and all contributions will be appreciated and go directly towards the podcast to help us grow.